Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Kano Tryharding Modern. So this will be this week's Tron video. Hope you guys enjoy. I'm trying to. I realize I have 2 Patreon deck requests I have not done for the month of November because everything else got in the way, and I forgot about it. But if I don't play Tron, people are going to be upset. So I will play some Tron for you guys. I'm going to keep the same deck list that I've been playing for a while. I'm not a big fan of the current 5.0 and placement deck lists personally. To answer a couple of questions really quick that I have seen pop up frequently, why Surgical Extraction over Relic? Surgical Extraction on the Moto metagame is a little bit more important, neutralizing specific threats. Follow-up question to that people have been asking is, well, then how are you getting their threats into the grave? And the answer is, in the Moto meta, with the self-mill deck, sorry, I'm getting confused. I don't remember what I just said. Because there's a lot of decks that play answers that also mill themselves, like Delirium and whatnot, Surgical is a lot better. Sniping a targeted problem threat is pretty huge, and it also answers all of that threat. So, as an example, if you are playing against Delirium and they mill an Unholy Heat, which is a great answer to Karn, Wurmcoil, Karn Liberated, all of our Planeswalkers and such. You can just Surgical the Unholy Heat. It takes them off Delirium. It takes them off of any Unholy Heats that are in their hand, which is very powerful. And it's just in general what we want to be doing. In a local metagame, depending on what your opponents are playing, if they're playing decks like Dredge, I would recommend playing Relic, or whatever the other Soul Guide Lanterns, like that kind of thing. And I thought there was another thing that I was thinking about that I've been answering a lot lately in the comments, but it's escaping me at the moment, so I'm not going to do too much of a deck tech here. This is a 17 land version rather than the 18. We're playing Platinum Angels as additional threats, which I seem to be having better luck with the deck, just having Platinum Angel in it, despite the fact that Platinum Angel for me has not been particularly good. If I were playing this a little bit more seriously, I would at least drop 1 Platinum Angel, possibly even into the sideboard and play an additional Wurmcoil Engine in the main, but that's just me. Anyway, I will see you guys in round 1. Oh, right, the other thing really quick. I am in no way sponsored by Elgato or anybody that makes a stream deck. So for the previous video, I was kind of ranting about how awesome I was enjoying my stream deck, and a lot of people didn't see it because it wasn't a Tron video, but I do have a stream deck. It's pretty great. I really like it. I've got the little 3x5 model. I do not have any affiliate links. I am not sponsored. I just think it's a good product, and I really enjoy it. And it's useful to me specifically because I am a programmer, and more than that, I'm a programmer that specializes in automation for other programmers. So in those terms, it happens to be a really good tool to write macros and such for me. And to see them on dedicated buttons that are screens and not have to have an actual macro keyboard where it's like, oh, what does this key do again? I don't remember what I bound to it. It's like, no, it's right there. It's elevated. It's on a button face, and it changes depending on what context I'm in. And you can even set it up so that, if I open Moto, I can get a different set of macros than if I open OBS, that kind of a thing. So if you happen to be in that niche market, I highly recommend that you get one of these. Honestly, even the little 6-button one will probably be sufficient if you're just using it for macros. If you're using it for streaming, I would probably go with one that's slightly bigger. I am going to keep this. This hand is a little bit worse against a lot of decks that are playing Thoughtseize and stuff, but if they're not doing that, we should be fine. Also, everything you see down here on the green screen is Porter or his bed. So I have one of my stream lights off because it's been kind of bothering my eyes a little bit. So if I appear differently lit, that would be why. I'm kind of eager to get out of this basement and move so I can get a better recording setup that's more evenly lit and doesn't cause me as much eye strain. I did get some of those orange tinted glasses that supposedly takes out all the blue light and whatnot. We're looking for power plant, by the way. We did not find it, but we did get an expedition map, which will get us there eventually. Play tower, play expedition map, pass the turn. We could always top deck a power plant, you never know. I just think I look ridiculous while wearing them, so I don't wear them when I stream, and I don't wear them when I record. Alright, opponent plays a land, passes, we untap, we draw Surgical Extraction. So let's go ahead and get a power plant. Opponent cracks Bloodstained Mire, that's interesting. They have an instant. Okay, they're just getting a Triumph. Alright, get a power plant, play a power plant, and pass the turn. Now we have Warping Wail and we have Surgical. This is looking like it could be any number of things. I don't really know what would play Mishra's Factory. I'm going to use Surgical here just to get information. Calibrated Blast, Throes of Chaos. Alright, and they're trying to hit Autochthon Worm. Okay, so we untap. We draw an Urza's Mine. That's actually excellent, because what that does is it lets us play Karn this turn. And if they Throes of Chaos, we can... I'm going to take them off of red mana. Actually, I'm going to take them off the factory. If they Throes of Chaos, we can Warping Wail now. If they Calibrated Blast and hit something that is huge, like Scion of Draco, I mean, that sucks, but we're not dead. Not to one, anyway. If we survive until next turn, we take them off of all of their lands, and we should be fine. Another Calibrated Blast is like the only thing that kills us here. Oh my god, they drew a second one. Blinkmoth Infusion. Yeah, that'll do it. Alright, they got us. So Surgical would have been obviously much better hitting Calibrated Blast, the first one, but we didn't even know they were going to have it. So what do we do here? I don't know what Calibrated Blast runs in the sideboard. If I lose to this deck, it's kind of funny. I wouldn't be upset about it, because I'm happy to see people play meme decks that aren't just Ragavan pile. Let's see. 3 color. They play Consign to Oblivion. They play Rough and Tumble. Is there anything I got to worry about with those? Nope. They play Nephalia Academy, so we can't make them discard, and Besiege You. What do they have in the main deck again? Not a lot, actually. Okay. We're just going to run it back, and in theory, on the play with turn 3 Tron into Karn, I'm pretty sure they actually can't beat that, so we'll see. I would like to play first. This is not a turn 3 Tron producing hand. Neither is this one, really. This one's even worse. So we're going down to 5. Going to 4. Opponent kept 6. We're going to 4. Alright. We got to put back 3 cards, so we put back Platinum Angel, Expedition Map, and Karn Great Creek. We could be really greedy and go Expedition Map, but Chromatic Sphere is better than that in almost every circumstance. If we Surgical Calibrated Blast, we should be okay, because then they're forced to like try and deal damage with manlands. Okay, Crack Star for green, we get an Expedition Map, play a map. Pass the turn. Well, we have 8 out of 54 draws, whatever fraction that amounts to try and draw a Tron land we don't have. Opponent cracks for a Triome. They play a Wooded Foothills. Crack for a Steam Vents and Shock. And they play Scion of Draco. Okay, that is bad for us. We draw a Tron land we already have, so play Power Plant. Pass the turn. Our hand might be too slow. If they wheel into a 16 drop off a Calibrated Blast, we just die. Okay, they hit us for 4. We get Deserted down to 15. Now Emrakul is lethal off a Calibrated Blast. Second Scion of Draco. Honestly thought the Scion of Draco was legendary, but I think that's Scion of the Ur-Dragon that I'm thinking of. Either way, we need to be able to do something and fast. This has flying, right? Yep. So, get a mine, untap, we draw a tower, play a mine, play an Expedition Map, pass the turn. I think we're just going to end up being way too slow here. We have no way to give ourselves hexproof from Calibrated Blast, unfortunately, as our opponent's not going to cast anything that is blue or black. Okay, we go to 6. Crack map. I think I'll get a Sanctum of Ugin here. We draw Chromatic Star, play Tower, play Star, sack it for green. We draw Sylvan Scrying. Okay. Play Karn Liberated. Nuke a Scion, so we can, in theory, stay alive for a turn. So, we're basically gonna need a Platinum Angel to survive, which is kind of funny. Opponent's got a Ramanov Ruins, and thankfully this isn't a red land, otherwise we'd be dead. We take 4 and go to 2. We untap. We draw a Forest. Not really what I wanted to see, if I'm being honest. Well, gotta take out the Scion. We're dead to a red source. Forest. Sylvan Scrying, because this thins our deck. Get a redundant tower here. We basically have to draw Platinum Angel. And we're dead. Okay, Calibrated Blast got us. I think that matchup is generally favored for us. I can see that the deck list has been worked on quite a bit from the results on MTG Goldfish and stuff. But hey, you know what? I'm not going to be upset about it. Somebody else playing a meme deck, more power to them. Just a quick mic check here. I'm going to increase my volume a bit because people were saying I was quiet. I have muted all Moto sounds, so hopefully we don't have any more incidents. Yeah, just doing a quick check. Alrighty, round 2, and this is a mulligan. You know, this also has to be a mulligan. Alright, well, this is somewhat reasonable. Hand of 5. I guess we'll keep. I'll put back Kozilek and a Sphere. I could go to 4, but like short of Tron's, like natural Tron plus threat, it's a lot less likely to win. So, lead on Tower Star, pass the turn. Opponent also mulligan to 5. They play an Arid Mesa to start. Into a mountain, they play a Swift Spear, and it's looking like burn. Okay. We untap and draw mine. So, sack Star for green. We get a Karn, Great Creator. Play Sphere. Play mine. Sack Star for green. Draw Ulamog. Okay. Pass the turn. Now, I could have sacked for black and surgically extracted the Arid Mesa. It's unlikely my opponent mulliganing to 5 has 2 of them. And surgical extraction's probably not going to be that valuable this game. We just need to get a threat out as quickly as possible. We're drawing 10 drops. So, I mean, if we can draw a power plant, we're good as gold. But if we don't, then we're in a little bit of trouble. Any land, of course, would be preferable. Okay, we take a Rift Bolt. And a Lightning Bolt. Opponent attacks us for 3. We go to 9. Well, we get bolted to 9. Then we take 4 and go to 5. Okay. Then they play a 3rd land tapped. We draw Power Plant, which is good. So the question is, what 4 mana or less thing do I want to play? I could play Trinisphere, and that would limit my opponent to casting only 1 spell. I think the play here, though, is putting Chalice on 1. This is nowhere near as good as it used to be against Burn. Because we're just dead to Lightning Helix, we're dead to Boros Charm, we're dead to every 2 mana spell that isn't Searing Blaze. But there's just nothing else I can do at the moment. Because one serious burn spell kills us. And we can't Ensnaring Bridge because we have too many cards in hand. So put Chalice on 1. Pass the turn. We weren't casting Surgical anyway. But this saves us, I think, from more spells than Chalice on 2 does, because it stops additional Goblin Guides or Monastery Swift Spears or anything like that. Okay, we draw an Urza's Mine. This is excellent. So for 10 mana, take out the white sources. Okay. Then we're going to Wish. And we're going to get Trinisphere. So we have to dodge White Land Boros Charm. If they had Boros Charm, we should have already been dead. So they'd have to have been sandbagging a 4th land. Okay, they don't have it. So we got unlucky versus our first round opponent, and so far have gotten lucky. Alright, now let me double check, because I don't know... I haven't seen regular burn, like Boros burn, in a long time in the modern meta. I know kind of some of the stuff they would historically play against us, but it looks like there's been a couple of recent lists playing Smash to Smithereens, Roiling Vortex, and Deflecting Palm and stuff like that on the side. They've also got Path. So nothing too crazy. I was kind of wondering if they were going to have Lightning, or not Lightning Bolt, but they were going to have Blood Moon and stuff like that. It does not look as though they are playing any sort of moon effect. And in that case, I mean, I probably should drop Surgicals, because I don't think they're going to be very good. I'll bring in the Wilts, and I think I'm going to put Chalice in the main deck. And we'll try it like that. I could put the second Wurmcoil in the main, but there is some notion that I may need to wish for it. I could drop, like, the 10 mana threats, but Surgical is just such a dead card in this matchup, I don't think it's worth it. Okay, this we will keep. This is a turn 3 Karn Great Creator off of Tron. Opponent leads on Goblin Guide. Attacks us for 2. We get a Blast Zone, which may or may not be useful depending. We draw Chalice, so play Power Plant. Pass the turn. So now the question is, do we play Chalice on 1 with so many 1-drops in hand? I think the answer might be yes, especially if my opponent is stuck on 1 mana. Okay, they attack us for 3. We draw a Tower. We untap and draw Chromatic Sphere. So play Tower. Put Chalice on 1. We have a lot of cards in our hand that this kills, but I think in theory it's still the correct choice, rather than going for turn 3 Karn. Of course, we are taking 8 this turn, and we're probably dead to another Boros Charm, so maybe that was a mistake. Okay, we're drawing another dead 1-drop. So let's get an Urza's Mine, play the Mine, and I'm going to cycle Wilt. Get a Sylvan Scrying, pass the turn. I'm going to discard Chromatic Sphere. I have to hope they're holding a lot of 1-drops. Okay, well, if it's a Lightning Helix or a Boros Charm, we're just dead. Okay. We would have been dead anyway had we taken the quote-unquote proper line. So, yeah, run it back. Okay, that's a mulligan. There's too many dead cards in that hand. This hand is also a mulligan, I think. Not a great 5 either. Okay, we will keep this. We're putting back Karn Liberated, Platinum Angel, and I think Sylvan Scrying. Play Power Plant, pass the turn. The reason I put back Sylvan Scrying is because we're more likely to draw Sphere or Star than we are to draw... Well, we're more likely to draw Sphere or Star before we draw, I think, another land. And Sphere and Star can be played into Ancient Stirrings in the same turn. And we need to be kind of fast and mana efficient, so that's the hope anyway. Play Mine, pass the turn. Really hoping for a Tower off the top. That would just be glorious. But it plays a Sacred Foundry. They play a Goblin Guide and suspend a Rift Bolt. They attack us for 3. We draw an Urza's Mine, which at the very least is a land. Mon Tower. Okay. Well, Blast Zone kills threats, at least. Play another Urza's Mine. Pass the turn. But are we dead? Rift Bolt coming off suspend. Take 3 and go to 13. When it plays a Sunbaked Canyon, Lava Spikes us. Boros Charm is lethal. Skewer the critics. Okay. 1 away from dead. Opponent attacks us for 6. We are drawing an Ulamog. We untap. Play Blast Zone. Pass the turn. We crack Blast Zone in combat, but if our opponent has any burn at all that is non-creature, we lose. Opponent goes to combat, they attack. Goblin Guide reveals we are drawing a Chromatic Sphere. So blow up the 1-drops, and we're dead to Lightning Bolt anyway. Alright, that's unfortunate. I'll see you guys in round 3. Alright, welcome to round 3. We're going to mulligan. 2/3 of Tron, nothing to play. I think we can go to 5. Oh, double Power Plant. Alright, well, we'll keep this. We'll put back a Power Plant, and we'll put back an Ulamog. I do prefer this hand over the previous one, because at least we have a Warping Wail. Pass the turn. Our mulligan luck has not been that great. This makes me want to revisit putting Serum Powder in Tron. I don't think that's good, but it looks like we're against Belcher. Okay. Now we just need to draw a Tron threat. Yeah, this is definitely some sort of landless combo. Okay, play Tower. Pass the turn. Keeping Ulamog was, I think, definitely the wrong choice. Opponent plays Turn Timber, bolts themselves. Pyretic Ritual to 4. And it's a Charbelcher. Go ahead and make a 1/1. We need a Karn, really. That is not a Karn, so we are dead. Yeah, just honestly, we've been having terrible luck this league. This is very abnormal in the face of like my 4 previous leagues. I will be bringing in the Force of Vigors, the Wilts. I'm leaving the Surgicals in the main deck. We are going to drop... Ugin is basically worthless, and so is Kozilek. Wurmcoil is kind of in the same boat. Warping Wail has some utility actually countering a... we do not want all this dust. I would rather have the Wurmcoil. It counters the 4 mana, gets 7 mana back ritual that I can't remember the name of right now. Ironcrag Feet, that's the one. This I will keep. If they don't have... what's it called? If they don't have Ironcrag Feet, we just kill the Charbelcher and then Surgical it. And what are they going to do? They have to follow up with their backup plan, which might just be like playing the front halves of the backside land cards. Sometimes they do sideboard, but if they do sideboard, it's into like an Oops All Spells situation, which Surgical Extraction just beats anyway. So play Chromatic Sphere, pass the turn. If I don't draw a green spell, I may not Ancient Stirrings next turn, because I want to be able to force. Okay, we drew another Ancient Stirrings, which is possibly our best draw. Ancient Stirrings. Well, kind of sucks, but we'll take an Urza's Mine, play Star, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They bolt themselves for Shatter Skull, Pyretic Ritual, Strike it Rich, and recross the paths. Okay, so they're using this to set up their deck. Let's double check and make sure that that's what their plan is. They have Blood Moon. They're still on Charbelcher. Okay, so the way that they've done this, what they're doing here is they're stacking their deck in such a way that they put the 7 cards they need to win the game on top of their deck, and on top of that, they stack Reforge the Soul. So on their draw step, they Miracle Reforge, they force us to mulligan effectively, and then they draw the 7 cards. What we're going to do is Surgical Extract on their end step to deny them and force them to shuffle. Because then they're basically stuck trying to miracle one of a 2 of naturally to get back in the game. So here's a situation where Surgical is vastly superior to Relic. For those of you that are wondering. Not that this matchup is common. I have no idea, but there might be in some local metagames. This might be a consideration, because I suspect this is a deck people play a lot more in paper than they would in real life. Or paper, different from real life. Paper, instead of Moto. Oh my gosh. That's how you know it's stream of consciousness. If you die in the game, you die for real. I would... Oh my god, if that, like, we were playing, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Shadow Realm rules for MTG, frickin' I would die in the first 10 seconds to this, probably my own stupidity. Alright. So let's see, what are they? They clash, revealing Turn Timber Symbiosis. Chromatic Sphere, I'll put on the bottom. Okay, so pass to our opponent's end step, and we're just gonna Surgical Strike it Rich. They have another Recross the Paths, though. Okay, so that's bad. They don't have any green mana to cast it, though, which is pretty good. Okay, so we force our opponent to shuffle. General sadness ensues. We draw Sylvan Scrying. So sack Star for green. Let's see what we draw. Ancient Stirring. We will take Forest. Rest of the bottom. Play a Forest. Sylvan Scrying. Let's go get a Power Plant. Pass the turn. I have taken myself off of Force. I could have taken Yavimaya there, but if I played Yavimaya, then my opponent has green mana and can cast Recross the Paths, which would be bad for us, I suspect. Play Power Plant. Play a Karn Great Creator, and we're going to go ahead and get a Liquimetal. Start blowing stuff up. Pass the turn. Opponent Miracles Reforge the Soul. I don't know what the odds of that are, but that does get them back in this game. Okay. They bolt themselves for Shatter Skull, Desperate Ritual, and this is probably a Blood Moon. Okay. Well, the good news is we had the foresight to take the Forest rather than play this Yavimaya. We draw Chromatic Sphere. I could wish for Chalice and put it on 2. Let's see what else is in their deck. They have a lot of 2-mana spells that are good. Yeah, I actually think I'm going to do that. Let's go ahead and take Chalice. I am going to play out Yavimaya now that it's just a mountain. Put Chalice on 2. Ancient Stirring. We'll just take a land here. Rest to the bottom. Pass the turn. Chalice on 1 stops them from casting Spikefield Hazard to kill Karn, but we have a redundant Karn, so we should be okay. Opponent plays a Turn Timber. They hard cast a Reforge the Soul. Okay. That gets rid of a lot of action spells, including our redundant. We draw Karn Liberated, though, so everything's kind of fun. Uptick. Actually. Play Chromatic Star. Uptick on Star. Play Chromatic Sphere. And pass the turn. Not sure they could have a haste creature, but you never know. I mean, I'm almost certain they don't, but that is both Reforge the Souls now. So they have Shatter Skull or like double Spikefield Hazard to kill Karn, which would be the concern. Opponent plays a Seagate Reborn. Valakut Awakening. They're going to throw away a bunch of cards in their hand they don't need. I'm not going to lie, I miss 7 Land Belcher. I thought that deck was a lot more interesting than this. But you know what? I'm still happy to be playing against non-meta stuff. We draw Chromatic Star. Do we have anything 7 mana or less that would be better? I think the answer is no. So, uptick, animate the star, play another tower, play Karn, and start taking out lands. Pass the turn. Actually, do I have a relic in my sideboard? Because I could buy back my Liquimetal Coating if I did. I think we're going to put a Trinisphere onto the battlefield very shortly. Okay, redundant Blood Moon. We're not scared of that. We untap. We draw a Chromatic Star. Uptick on our opponent. They give us an Infernal Plunge. Play an Urza's Mine. Play a star. Play a star. If I downtick now, I have to worry about Spikefield Hazard. I could wait a turn. And I could just get Sundering Titan. That might be good. I want to deny my opponent as many lands and spells as possible. So I'm going to go for the Trinisphere. We have more threats we can draw, so. Pass the turn. It also stops a Force of Vigor. Well, I mean, it doesn't stop it, but it forces them to pay mana for it. They cast a Pact of the Titan. They have to pay 5 mana or they lose the game. So they can kill Karn Great Creator now, because I did not animate a creature to block. We have 5 redraws to try and win the game at that point. Okay, they kill Karn Great Creator. We untap. We draw a Platinum Angel, which I hear is pretty good. Let's go ahead and sack for green. We draw Wilt. Sack for green. We draw a map. Sack for green. We draw a Surgical. We'll go ahead and sack this last one too. Tower. Okay. Surgical Charbelcher. See what else is in their hand and deck. Game's over. I was pretty sure Belcher was their only way to win. Okay. No adjustments. Run it back. Okay. I will keep this. This is fast. I don't know if it's necessarily good. I would prefer to have some kind of artifact destruction. Okay, opponent leads on tap land after a mulligan to 5. Play Power Plant. Play Map. Pass the turn. The good news is, even if we do get Blood Moon, we're only a 4th land away from playing Karn. Opponent bolts themselves for Seagate Reborn. Pyretic Ritual, Manamorphose. They're at 3 mana, 2 red, 1 green. We'll recross the paths. Okay. So they're going to stack their whole deck again. We have to Surgical to interrupt, but they only have 2 cards left. So I'm actually going to Surgical recross the paths. Because that prevents them from doing this whole Doomsday thing again. For those of you that don't know, Doomsday is a card that lets you stack your deck. That used to be played in Legacy, probably is still played in Legacy because the effect is very powerful. But I'm glad we brought Surgical instead of Relic, because I'm not sure it would have helped us out in the other, other matches we played. Bad thing about this is it takes a while to set up. Oh, you know what? The Surgical, I may not be able to Surgical recross the paths because I now understand what my opponent was doing with putting the Turn Timber Symbiosis on top. If they win the Clash, as part of Clash, they can put the card they clash with on top or bottom. And so that just kind of guarantees that they don't lose. It doesn't guarantee it because we play stuff that's higher than 7 CMC, but it gives them the best chance of doing it. So now they can put Recross the Paths in their hand. Okay. So we don't get the opportunity to surgical Recross the Paths. However, we can take out Pyretic Ritual or Manamorphose. I'm going to take out Manamorphose. Force of Vigor, Recross the Path, Shatter Skull Smashing. Okay, well that might make them Force of Vigor my Expedition map. Okay, play an Urza's Mine. Let's go get a tower. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent has a green tap land. We untap. We draw Chromatic Sphere, play a tower. Play a Karn. And we'll go get Liquimetal Coating. Play Coating, play Map, and pass the turn. Stopping on my opponent's upkeep. Shutting off the green mana so they cannot recross. Not without a Turn Timber Symbiosis. Yeah, if my opponent wanted to Force of Vigor, they should have done so on my turn. Opponent plays Shatter Skull, the Hammer Pass. We untap. I think we're going to see a Force of Vigor here. Okay. So, crack map. Just get a redundant tower. Shut off the green mana. We lose Liquimetal Coating. We draw another Expedition map. Play tower. Blow up a land. Then play a map. Crack map. I'm going to get a forest. Then we will play star and play sphere. Pass the turn. Next turn, we're following this up with an Ulamog. So, unless the last last 3 cards in their hand, which they don't even have, they'd have to have Redland, Ironcrag Feet, Belcher, and that doesn't even work because we have Karn. So, I'm pretty sure we've got them. Ulamog. Take out red mana, and the game is over. All right, well, we beat Belcher. I'll see you guys in round 4. All right, we're on the play for round 4, and this is a mulligan. No, I'm going to 5 again. Man, we've been going to 5, it feels like, every game. This is way better. We'll keep. I'm going to put back Blast Zone and Star. Okay, so lead on Power Plant, play Expedition map, pass the turn. Opponent shocks themselves for a Temple Garden and Utopia Sprawl. So this is looking like Heliod combo. They chose red. This is actually probably Enchantress. So I'm kind of expecting a Blood Moon then, which means I need to wait to crack this map. Sometimes I crack maps early. This is a situation where I absolutely cannot afford to do so. We draw a redundant tower, which is kind of nice. So pass the turn. Opponent plays a Snow-Covered Forest. Okay, they play a Sanctum Weaver. I do not have a Pithing Needle in the sideboard, which is kind of a big deal. So we got to go for Urza's Mine here. Untap. Karn Liberated I think might actually be better here. Because if we get Karn Liberated, we can take out the land that has Utopia Sprawl on it. There it is. There it is. Play Karn. Hit the sprawled land. Now, Sanctum Weaver is still really dangerous, but without like a multiple Utopia Sprawl hand, it's not going to create that much mana. It's just a mana dork right now. And next turn, we're going to be able to play an Ugin. And Ugin just takes out any arbitrary number of enchantments they could play, short of like Blood Moon. All right, so we got there. So, of course, Enchantress does play Blood Moon. We do need the Force of Vigors. We need the Wilt. They play a lot of stuff that makes their guys and enchantments hexproof, but unfortunately none of that stands up to All Is Dust or Ugin. Platinum Angel, a bit worse here. And I'm actually, I think, going to keep Surgical in. Well, maybe not. Let's get rid of the Surgicals, and we'll try it like this. I think this is all the changes we need to make. Okay, this hand is not good. This hand is worse, somehow. Why am I going to 5 every single game? Now, Tron is very capable of doing that, as you see, from some of the games we've won this entire league. But this is not normal. I will keep this. I think this is decent enough. I'm going to put back Sphere, and I'm going to put back Ugin. Now, keeping Ugin, because Ugin is one of our better spells, is quite good. But the problem is I cannot give up Force of Vigor here, and I'm going to need to draw cards, so I would prefer to keep a star to double my chance that I'm going to hit another green spell. Because like if my opponent goes for a turn 2 Blood Moon, what ends up happening is I get to take out the Utopia Sprawl and the Blood Moon and then untap with Tron. Which would be excellent. That's how I intend to win this game. Now, whether or not I draw the cards necessary for that to occur, I don't know. Okay, we untap and draw an Ulamog. Lead on mine, play star. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Now, if they go for a Blood Moon play, they lose the Utopia Sprawl on the Temple Garden. They play a Windswept Teeth. They crack it. They go for a Forest. Abundant Growth on the Forest. Okay, so they get to draw a card. And then they play a Suppression Field. Okay, so Suppression Field says we can't activate abilities unless we pay 2 more. Chromatic Star's ability is a mana ability. Play Power Plant, pass the turn. No sense in cracking Star just yet. I've had a lot of people pithing needle Chromatic Spheres and Chromatic Stars thinking that that would stop them. That is not the case. These are mana abilities because they produce mana, which is one reason why the rulings on Chromatic Sphere is so weird. Like, if you technically are activating it during the costs, you, like, draw the card face down, stuff like that. Okay, so opponent plays an Enchantress's Presence. That is a very dangerous spell. Opponent plays a Windswept Teeth. I'll wait to crack. We untap. We draw Chromatic Sphere. Okay. Well, play Tower. Play Sphere. Sack Sphere for green. We draw another Sphere. Sack Star for green. We draw Karn. So Force of Vigor, we're going to take out Enchantress's Presence and Suppression Field. Then play another Chromatic Sphere. Now the reason that I didn't go for that Utopia Sprawl is the fact that I'm probably going to be casting an Ulamog or a Karn soon. The only way that this goes wrong is if my opponent does in fact play a Blood Moon. That would be very bad for us. I'm not going to crack this Sphere though. Okay, opponent plays a Sterling Grove. They play a Forest. They play a second Sterling Grove. Sacking the first one. Let's see what they get. Blood Moon. Well, I hate to say it, opponent, but this does not go well for you. We play Karn. We're going to go ahead and exile this Temple Garden. Sterling Grove does put the enchantment on top of the deck. We'll play a Power Plant, play an Expedition Map, and pass the turn. So opponent can spend all of their mana next turn casting a Blood Moon. But then we Ulamog, taking out 2 lands. One of them has Abundant Growth. Then we Karn, down tick on Blood Moon. Actually, hang on. Back up. Kano doesn't know what he's talking about. Sack a Star, see what we draw. Okay. So Karn, uptick. Uptick on our opponent. I don't want to uptick on us. I'm not going to be ultimating this Karn anyway. They can't exile anything out of their hand. They will be able to draw and play any 2 mana or less enchantment next turn. So I'm going to crack Expedition Map and I'm going to get a Forest. It's possible I should have given up Karn to take out Sterling Grove. The only problem with doing that is I can't immediately replay Karn and it gives my opponent an opportunity to rebuild. They did not immediately sack Sterling Grove. They play an Enchantress's Presence, which they just drew. We draw an Ugin. So say goodbye to Sterling Grove. Pass the turn. Opponent needs to be able to protect that Blood Moon to stay alive. Second Blood Moon, that is a way to do it. Opponent gets to draw a card. They play a land. We untap. We draw a Sylvan Scrying. Because I have to downtick Karn multiple times, I'm going to take out Enchantress's Presence to stop them from redrawing. Sylvan Scrying. I'm going to get our other Forest here, specifically because if I draw Force of Vigor, then I can just hard cast it. Okay. Opponent untaps. And they scoop the match. Alright. Well, we're 2-2 going into the final round. I'll see you there. Okay, and we are on the play for our final round. We have a Chromatic Star and Natural Trons we will be keeping. So, lead on mine, play Star. and pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a Verdant Catacombs, cracks it for a forest, and plays a Young Wolf. So this is definitely Yawgmoth combo. Now my option is either using Warping Wail to kill Young Wolf or Ancient Stirrings to get a Tron threat. I think I'm going to play it ultra safe and leave up this Warping Wail. No, we go for the Ancient Stirrings here. Okay, get a Karn Great Creator, rest to the bottom, pass the turn. There's not a lot my opponent can do on turn 2 that's going to be absolutely terrifying. Like, there's a lot of bad things that can happen, but there's nothing that should be able to, like, end the game or completely stop our game plan. Opponent attacks us with Young Wolf for 1. Our opponent's deck, in theory, basically cannot beat Ugin, because we end up exiling their whole board. They can if they have a sack outlet, but... Okay, we untap, we draw an Ancient Stirrings. Okay, so play Tower, play Karn Great Creator, and I'm going to go for a Trinisphere here. Play Trinisphere. This makes them play at most 1 spell next turn, and that's if they have a land. If they do not have a land, all they can do is attack for 1. They attack us for 1. We get 18. Opponent shocks an Overgrown Tomb and plays a Grist the Hunger Tide. So they can use this to Bone Splinters our Karn. It's pretty good. Okay. We untap, we draw a tower, play a forest, Ancient Stirrings. We'll pick up an Ugin, rest to the bottom, and then we'll leave up Warping Wail, I suppose. Ugin should absolutely just clean house. Okay, opponent makes an Insect, milling a Birds of Paradise. They play a forest. They attack us for 2. Okay. I could Warping Wail on their end step to kill Blood Artist, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to have 11 mana next turn, and I can Warping Wail alongside Ugin. So play a tower. Play Ugin. Worst case scenario, my opponent has a Collected Company, and if they hit X1s, we can Warping Wail to kill one of them. So we -3 Ugin. We're going to exile the whole board. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent flashes in Endurance. Okay. They make us shuffle our grave back in. That's fine. They crack Verdant. They get Dryad Arbor. Okay. They untap. Play a Twilight Mire. 4 mana, they play Yawgmoth. So I'm going to exile Dryad Arbor. I was hoping to use Warping Wail's token to block Endurance, but Yawgmoth makes that impossible. They can still attack Ugin down to 1, force him to uptick, but we're going to follow him up with a Karn Liberated. We are going to downtick Karn on Yawgmoth almost certainly, even though that does let them attack and kill Ugin with Endurance. Okay, play Tower, play Star, sack Star for green. Let's get a little more information. So if we draw like an Ugin, that would be, or an Ulamog, that would be better. Okay, play Karn. Kill Yawgmoth. Uptick on our opponent. Then play Expedition Map. Pass the turn. Opponent's still stuck on 1 spell per turn. They can choose which one of our Planeswalkers they want to deal with. Honestly, I could see them going either way on that one. Karn is a lot harder to kill because he ticks up a lot faster. Ugin is potentially more threatening. Either one capable of answering Endurance currently. They kill Ugin. Okay. Opponent Eldritch Evolution, sacking their 3-drop. They can get up to a 5-drop. They get Grist. They uptick. They have nothing to Bone Splinters with. So that right there is threatening Karn. We will crack Expedition Map on our upkeep and go get Sanctum. Blasso, not useful yet. Okay. Ancient Stirrings. We get a Karn Great Creator. Rest of the bottom. So we can uptick Karn, take the last card out of their hand. Opponent is going to sack Nurturing Peatland to draw a different card and exile that instead. Okay. Play Power Plant. Play Karn. We have 7 mana. Down tick with Karn. We can get Liquimetal Coating. Play Coating. Pass the turn. Stop on our opponent's upkeep. Say Grist can't activate abilities this turn as long as Karn remains on the battlefield. So they have to have like Strangle Rootgeist, attack, kill Karn, then Bone Splinters, kill Karn Liberated. It's not impossible. It's just not super likely. Okay, opponent scoops. Okay. So, Yawgmoth combo, huh? Out of the sideboard, they're going to have Thoughtseizes. They're going to have Necromentia, which is a big deal. So, I guess Veil of Summer is coming in. Because if we get a Tron land Necromentia, that is going to be quite tough for us. I think All Is Dust is actually kind of bad in this matchup. As is Platinum Angel. I think it's a little... I don't know what word I was going to use there. I wanted to say fragile, but I started with SH. I actually wasn't going to use a swear word. I was just like in the wrong mindset to even start attempting the word I was going to pronounce. All right, well, I think that's the only adjustment we make. Yep. All right, we have turn 3 Tron with Warping Wail for Necromentia. With the exception of Birds of Paradise into Necromentia. That is the only thing we have to watch out for. And by watch out for, we mean pray doesn't happen. Opponent does mulligan to 6. They start Verdant Catacombs. Verdant Catacombs crack into Overgrown Tomb, into Ignoble Hierarch. Here it comes. I'm going to play Urza's Mine. And the reason that I'm going to play Urza's Mine, as opposed to anything else in my hand, if I play a Power Plant and I get Necromentia, that gives me 2 zombies, but 2 zombies is not going to be enough to pressure our opponent. They Force of Vigor, pitching Young Wolf. Interesting. Now if they follow it up with Necromentia, it's super good. They play Prosperous Innkeeper, and they get a treasure token. We untap and draw Veil of Summer. I'm going to play Power Plant, and I'm going to exile Ignoble Hierarch, both to slow their clock and to deny them mana. Okay, opponent untaps. They Thoughtseize us, so they see Sphere, Ancient Stirrings, our lands, and Veil. I think they take Ancient Stirrings here. It's just the card that offers us the most possible selection, and we can play it without Sphere, so it's not like they'd take Sphere. They could take Veil. If they do have a Necromentia that they're trying to wind up towards, that would be extremely concerning. Okay, so they take Veil. We go to 1, or we take 1, go to 19, excuse me. Untap, we draw Surgical. So play Chromatic Sphere. Crack Chromatic Sphere for green. Get a Kozilek. Ancient Stirrings. We're really hoping for a tower. We do not find one. I'm going to take Blast Zone here. Play Blast Zone. And I'm going to Surgical Thoughtseize on their draw step. I could go for Catacombs as a desperate attempt to stop a Necromentia. They have a Necromentia, but they can't cast it until next turn. Okay. Actually, they could play their Ignoble Hierarch, which forces us to sack Blast Zone so they don't Necromentia us. Okay. They gain 1 life off Prosperous Innkeeper. They hit us for 2. If we get a tower, we like dodge the problem entirely. Unfortunately, that is not a tower this turn. We have to stop. We have to not... They can't draw a land this turn for us to succeed. Crack Blast Zone immediately. If they draw a land, they Necromentia us, and we basically lose. Oh my god, I should have Surgical Verdant. So here comes the Necromentia on tower. We're not holding any towers, but we're a long way off of playing most other things. I did try to fight it as hard as I could. I was more concerned about it at Thoughtseize immediately. I guess I should have taken the Verdant just to like decrease their chances of playing land. They only play 20 lands on average, but yeah, they hit Tower. Okay, so their last card in hand is Grist. That's just a little unlucky. We draw Sylvan Scrying, which is good. Play mine. Go Scrying. We will get a Sanctum. Pass the turn. At least we can guarantee land drops for a couple of turns, which gets us close to just hard casting our threats anyway. Opponent plays a Dryad Arbor, which they cannot use to play Grist, at least. They hit us for 1. We go to 13. Untap. We draw Karn Great Creator, which if we play will die to Grist immediately. Play Sanctum. Play Scrying, and we'll get a Power Plant. We do not have that many lands left in the deck at all, so I have to let my opponent play Grist here. Yep. Really wish I had a Pithing Needle. They uptick, make an Insect, mill Geralf's Messenger. Hit us for 1, we go to 12. We untap and draw Wurmcoil Engine. Play Wurmcoil Engine, because if they Bone Splinters it, then we have enough blockers to stop our opponent from activating Grist with Liquimetal Coating, and we can get somewhere with it. Okay, they uptick, making another Insect token, gaining another life. They play Ignoble Hierarch, gaining another life. Then they pass. We untap, we draw Karn Liberated, so play Karn Great Creator. Wish, get Liquimetal Coating, play Coating, pass the turn, no attacks. Stop on their upkeep, metallicize Grist. Now they can attack and kill Karn. I guess I miscounted the number of creatures they had, but they're still not going to do that. That's interesting. We untap. We draw another Karn Great Creator. 6 mana or less. I guess I could wish for... like an Ensnaring Bridge, I guess. I need to get down my Karn Liberated, but I have no way to guarantee another mana drop here. Any creature I play can just die to Bone Splinters. Okay. Go to combat. Attack Grist. Opponent should chump here. They do. We gain 6. Wish. We get a Wurmcoil Engine. Play Wurmcoil Engine. Pass the turn. Stop on my opponent's upkeep. Turn Grist into an artifact. So if they want to activate him, they have to attack and kill Karn first. Okay, they gain 1 life. They don't attack. Okay, that's interesting. We draw an Ugin, we just need mana. Okay, go to combat. Attack with both creatures at Grist. They chump 1, we gain 12. They let Grist die, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to blow up Overgrown Tomb, because Karn's going to die anyway. I think my opponent just made a mistake because they weren't paying attention. Because like they could play Yawgmoth, but they don't have... Oh, they have a second Grist, that's why. That makes perfect sense then. But there's no reason for them to even downtick Grist here. They can just attack and kill Karn. Everybody at Karn, huh? Okay. They make an Insect. We untap. We draw a Forest. Play a Forest. Play Karn Liberated. We will not be sacking Sanctum. Downtick to kill Grist. Pass the turn, no attacks. 1 more mana and our opponent is just done. And if they don't have a way to really swing profitably past these Wurmcoil Engines, they are also in trouble. Okay, we draw Platinum Angel. It's not what I wanted, but I mean, it's like, okay. So, start blowing up black mana. Get Karn out of swinging range. I could uptick on myself and just put Kozilek in the exile zone. No attacks, pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a Strangleroot Geist. They go to combat and do nothing. We untap and draw Urza's Mine, and that's the game. We will sack Sanctum. Just go get an Eldrazi. Will we wipe the board, blow up all their lands? We'll get the flawless victory because they have no cards in hand as well, so it's pretty good. Let's go ahead and open this treasure chest and see what we get. 25 play points and a Transmogrifying Wand. Well, that's about the worth of a treasure chest. I think it's between 2.5 and 2.7 event tickets or something like that. I still prefer this version of the list over a lot of other versions I've seen running around. It might be nostalgia, it might be just personal preference, but at the same time, you could replace the surgical extractions with relics. It's about the same, depending on what you want to play against. Obviously, if you're playing against an opponent that's stacking the deck, using the graveyard as a single threat that you can't deal with otherwise, or mills themselves, surgical extraction is generally better when specific cards are the problem. If your opponent is playing a self-mill deck like Dredge, you're better off playing Relic, you're better off playing Soul Guide Lantern, all that sort of stuff. So, obviously, Platinum Angel, kind of a meme. I would drop a Platinum Angel, probably play a Wurmcoil if I was playing absolutely seriously, which maybe I should because this is Tryharding, but yeah, you know. Hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays in the afternoon, sometimes the evening, and don't want to miss this next upcoming one because, which will be the day this video goes up. If this video is coming out on a Wednesday, which it should be, all signs point to yes. Mixim, I haven't forgotten your Dragonstorm request. Francis Boyes, I have not heard from you. I'm going to play Coffers for your November deck submission. If I don't hear back from you on time. And, yeah, I think that's everything. Y'all are wonderful human beings. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!
Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of November. Thank you all so much, and if you guys want to see your name on this list, please check the link in the description below. Thank you.